Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Initially, they used to have problems. For example, when I was growing up, my mother was like, just wear Indian suits and salwar. We don't want to let you wear jeans. Like, I remember fighting with my mother for 2 years, Avinash, because she would not let me wear jeans. I started making rotis when I was like in 5th standard because, oh, your prep has to start. Your training has to begin now. So they meet you, अरे आप तो बहुत ही पतले हो यार. अरे आप कुछ upset हो क्या? And I got so scared of meeting people because I was scared that they'll say something that will hurt me, you know. And then the pandemic happened and I was really struggling with my mental health and I was really going back into my shell. We were shooting in a restaurant and there was this man who was the owner of the restaurant. And they have this paratha, okay, this large paratha that I was supposed to eat on camera.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Arey हाँ इनको खिलाओ, देखो इनकी हालत देखो." I couldn't think of a funny comeback, but I said, "Uncle, ऐसे नहीं बोलते." And he shut up.
Hi everyone, this is Avinash Lohana and you're watching Pinkvilla. My guest today is an actor and a social media star. But what I admire the most about her is that she makes the optimum use of the word influence and influencer. Joining me on Woman Up Season 4 is the very admirable Dolly Singh.
Thank you so much, Avinash. That was so sweet.
Thank you so much for doing this. You know, this really means a lot to us.
It means a lot to me. Look at your lineup. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. You know, I want to start by showing you this poem, which you have said has had an influence of you. It's by Robert Frost. Can you read the last 3 lines of
this? You've done a lot of research if you know this.
The last 3 lines of this, and then we can take it from there.
Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
It has, right?
It really, you know, something moved in me the day I read it, and obviously it was in our syllabus, and we were just reading it. It's not like I picked a poem and, you know, like read it. It was supposed to be a syllabus, and our teacher is teaching us, and you know, at that point I was, I think, in 10th standard, and this is the time when, you know, you have your boards and then you have to decide which stream you want to take and where you want to go in life, and suddenly things start getting very serious, you know. And I had always wanted, like, you know, to study arts, but I was also a very good student in school, so as a default, you'd expect me to take science. You'd expect me to, if nothing, take commerce because, you know, engineering or something, or a CA, or, you know. And my parents were so like, you know, tomorrow you go ahead and choose your stream. My father's like, पूरा faith है तुम्हें जो लेना है बेटा, तुम्हें जो करना है वो करो, you know, because he was like, क्या ही लेगी बच्ची first आती है class में. And because he gave me that freedom, and I had read this poem which was literally like, you know, I'm going to take that less traveled road. I was like, you know what? And all the kids in our school, only, you know, the ones who would take arts were known to be like, oh, they're not good in studies. That's why they take arts. And somehow, somewhere, I wanted to change that. And I went the next day and I went to my school and we were supposed to choose a stream. And I said, I want to take arts. And all my teachers were shocked. And it's so funny because you make the kids take an exam to take science, to take commerce, but there's no exam for arts. So you only are undermining the whole thing, right? And that itself was like, okay, you know what? I take arts. And if this is an example that I can set for my juniors and, you know, people who want to take arts but are like, oh, I'm a good student, I can't take arts. But so it really has changed my life from then. And every time I think of something, you know, doing something, and if I'm stuck somewhere, I think of these lines and I'm done. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. It's too good.
It's amazing, right?
It's amazing.
It is. But Dolly, you know, it is also very challenging to take the road less traveled. What are the challenges you faced?
I mean, from the beginning, my father was extremely upset. Aghast. Like उनके, मैं बोलती हूँ, उनके पैरों के नीचे से ज़मीन ही निकल गई थी जब मैं वापस आई और मैंने बोला कि मैंने तो आर्ट्स ले लिया है. And then he was like, क्यों? And I was like, आपने ही बोला था जो लेना है ले लो. तो वो बड़े परेशान हो गए और उसके बाद ना वो काफ़ी अपसेट हो गए थे क्योंकि उनको लगा था कि मैं डॉक्टर बनूंगी, कुछ बनूंगी, you know, पढ़ाई करूंगी. और फिर जब मैंने खुल के आर्ट्स लिया, आर्ट्स पढ़ा, मस्ती करी, मुझे बड़ा अच्छा लगता था हिस्ट्री, पॉलिटिकल साइंस. एंड उसके बाद भी जब मैं कॉलेज जाना चाह रही थी दिल्ली में, क्योंकि मैं नैनीताल से हूँ, आफ्टर दैट ही वाज लाइक, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू सेंड यू एनीवेयर. इफ यू वांट टू डू you know, regular BA, you can just do it from here. if you were studying science, I would have put money on you. I would have taken a loan, but I'm not going to put my money on arts. You know, just study, just graduate and we'll get you married. So that was the way it was. So of course I had to fight for it. Then I obviously created too many dramatic scenes in the house and I cried my eyes out, and you know, and I was shocked to see one thing, Avinash, I'll tell you, you know, I feel like a lot of times growing up, daughters and mothers start to have a very toxic relationship after a point, you know. And my mother and I had that, and we would not talk for long and we would fight a lot. But for some reason, when I really was trying to get out of that and really was trying to, you know, come to Delhi, and because I knew I had to come to a big city too. I had too many ambitions. I also didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to make it big. I wanted to do something big. And I think my mother saw it in me and she fought for me. And I was shocked that she's fighting for me. She's someone who's not, you know, not very educated, comes from a village, has no idea. And I would think of her as this, you know, misogynist who would be like, "Arey ghar baitho shadi karo," you know, like how my father was doing. And to see her actually push me, it felt so nice. And she really fought for me. And then my father was like, "Okay, you do your thing." And मैं अकेले आई Delhi. I did my, you know, admissions. I stayed at a friend's house. I got a PG done. I did everything on my own. My parents were not there, you know, to support or like to come with me. Generally, parents come drop you and stuff like that. Nothing happened with me. And I was like, it's fine. You know, if I have to do this all alone, I'll do it. Because tomorrow I don't want to regret that I didn't get a chance. And I did all of that. So I think, yeah, the road less traveled does give you a lot of challenges, throws a lot of challenges. You know, it's definitely because it's, what do you say, Uber Khabar hoti hai rasta. But I mean, it's also fun to take those challenges. I mean, it's no fun to do the easy thing, right?
I agree. Your content is a right mix of, like you said, fashion. There are funny sketches also, and then there are stuff that you really feel about. You have spoken about, you know, so many things. Racism, I think you made a video on. You've made a video on being skinny shamed. You recently put up a post about, you know, how your parents are aging and you're taking over the responsibility also. Is this a conscious decision to also talk about these things and make the most of the influence in the influencer?
I feel like I definitely stand by the fact that, you know, when you're an influencer, when you have a certain kind of following on internet, there is a certain responsibility that comes, whether you want it or not.
And you're aware of that.
I'm very aware of that.
Good.
And I feel like, of course, you can choose to not take it and be silent. But I would request to not also put out bad things, something that can influence people in a bad way. I mean, I try not to put any bad influence. But I also genuinely try to, you know, put out things that, you know, I really feel for, that I want to talk about. I feel like if I have a platform which is that big and I have millions of followers, might as well put something that, you know, that is also sweet and nice and makes them think and take something home. And I also feel like, you know, a lot of times, you know, I've seen some creators who have a personal profile and a private profile. I don't have that. This is my only profile. And I feel like sometimes, you know, this, like, for example, that parents post that you're talking about, I just traveled with them. I had this, I wouldn't say it's a new feeling, but it was a very heavy feeling to have that, you know, that they're growing old and I can't control it. And now I am the parent and they are the children. All of these feelings. And I wrote it down and I was like, I don't know, I just wanted to write it. I also like to write. So I posted about it and so many people resonated with it. That was very beautiful to see. I was not expecting that. But yes, I agree that I definitely feel and I take up that responsibility that I want to put nice things out. I want to tell people that, you know, do this, do the nice thing, or feel this, or, you know, if you feel this, I'd feel it too. Like you're not alone.
When you went up to your parents and said, now I want to become an actor and I want to pursue acting, what was that reaction like?
I didn't ask them. I didn't ask them. In fact, I didn't tell them also. You know, the funny thing is, you know, I don't know if it's true for everybody, but I think most middle class parents, you know, there's no confrontation, there's no communication. You know, you do things and then you tell them later, you'll see. At least in my case, I do things first and then I wait for the reaction.
So true, I can relate.
Yeah, exactly. And especially now when I am a little settled in life, I'm earning well, I'm a little stable, you know. So then the thing is also that they don't have anything to really say, you know. I am taking care of myself. So they can't really say much. In fact, I am now, because I'm also the elder daughter, I am the mother of the house at this point. I rule, you know, like I make the decisions. So I did my acting job for the first time and then I told them that, you know, I've done this very small role and this and that, and My mom was obviously very happy. Now they're completely on board with this. Now they're like, okay, do your thing, you know. Go for it. Like initially they used to have problems. For example, when I was growing up, my mother was like, just wear Indian suits and salwar. We don't want to let you wear jeans. Like I remember fighting with my mother for 2 years, Avinash, because she would not let me wear jeans. She was like, you're in 6th standard now. You're a woman. 6th standard. You're a woman. You can only wear salwar kameez. And I was like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, I did not buy any clothes. I mean, we only used to buy like 2 pairs of clothes every year, but I didn't even buy those because I was like, you're only going to buy me salwar kameez. I'm not going to wear it. So every time I would go out, I would wear my school dress. So it was really funny. But yeah, so at that, like, I've seen them also grow so much, evolve so much, you know, from that mother to this one who doesn't care what I wear, how much makeup I put, you know. It's been a great journey. They have also evolved so much with me, and it's so nice to see them that way. And they're my biggest cheerleaders now. You know, when I told them that I'm going for like the Kapil Sharma show or something, they got more excited. They just like they tell everyone around them. It's very sweet.
No, you rightly said. These things, especially at a tender age, comes from parents. It comes from a place of protection, that they really want to protect you.
Yes.
But also sometimes, and I have noticed, especially for women across ages, whenever they start making a choice, it automatically starts looked upon as a rebel.
Yes.
Did you also face that? Did people tell you this?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, like I said, my mother and I had the most toxic relationship. We would fight a lot. My parents, you know, like my father also. And then I feel like, you know, I also come from a family where just the patriarchal things are very like out there. You know, you as a girl, you're the one being asked to, you know, bring the water for the guests or water for your brother. Your brother is not supposed to. Why is he supposed to learn any of this? He's not going to go to a different house and then start doing all of this. I started making rotis when I was like in 5th standard because, oh, your, you know, prep has to start. Your training has to begin now. All of that has happened. So yeah, I think a lot of times with a lot of choices, you know, whether it is just something as stupid as clothes or actual career decisions, and you know, I mean, I'm 30 now. I have to say this, I am the first woman in my family, in my distant family, who has studied so much, who's doing well, who is unmarried at 30 and thriving. Let's be honest. And I hope that, you know, my cousins who are younger than me can learn from this, and that their parents will let them at least, you know, whatever, you know, at least I'm setting an example for them, and I am happy to do that. I went to my village recently, my nani's gaon, and I went to some distant cousin, you know, I don't even know them, but so sweet. And I met this woman, she was like, her daughter wasn't there, but she was like, my daughter is 16, usko actor banna hai. और उसके पापा तो बोलते हैं कि नहीं शादी कराओ, एंड गांव में तो अभी भी शादी happens at 18, 19, you know, it's very quick. She was like, मैंने तो लड़ लिया अपने हस्बैंड से कि क्यों, उसको भी करने दो, वो देखा नहीं है डॉली करती हैं, उनको भी करने दो. So you know, people are fighting for it. Like it's so sweet, and I feel like, you know, sometimes you don't realize how much influence you have just in your family, and it really helps. So I don't care about like maybe other, you know, influence, but at least in my own family, if I'm helping some girl or, you know, my cousins, it feels really nice.
So success is the answer.
So be a rebel. Do it. Fight for it.
You once said in an interview, I would run away from reality and pretended to be well-to-do. Thankfully, I have some perspective now. You did this when you were a child. Did this stem out of insecurity?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, like in school, of course, you know, you're made to feel like there's obviously a variety of kids, you know, some are rich, some are poor. And I think from the very beginning, I always kind of ran away from my own reality, that I live in a very small house, that my father can't afford things, you know, and I always in my head wanted to be that person who's like, I'm only going to talk in English. One day I'll marry a man who only talks in English, you know. I want to have friends who speak in English and are rich and everything. I wanted everything, you know. And I definitely feel that that ambition in whatever, you know, toxic form was there and has helped me, you know, come out so nice. But of course it was toxic, because I would never invite my friends over. I would never tell them that my father has a shop right on the, you know, road, because I would be so embarrassed that he has a shop. You know, everybody's fathers have a job. They go and work and, you know, come back at 5. My father comes at like 11 p.m, you know. And my mother, you know, like, you know, have you seen that movie English, you know, how that girl thing? It was I cried so much watching that movie because it's literally like taken out of my life. Because I remember I used to take my father for my parent-teacher meetings, and I used to feel that, oh, my father is at least, you know, better in terms of like the way he talks or whatever. He's more, and I would look down at my mother all the time. You know, I'm like, नहीं इनसे तो सिर्फ हिंदी में बात होती है, इनको इंग्लिश भी नहीं आती, तो क्या समझेंगी मेरी टीचर्स क्या बोल रही हैं. And one time my father was busy and he couldn't come, and he was like, take your mother. And I was like, no. He's like, no, just take your mother. And I was like, okay. And I go there and I'm constantly embarrassed by her for no reason. She's my mother, you know. And poor woman, she's really trying her best, you know, trying to talk to my teachers, talk to everyone, make friends. And I am just being like, I don't know her. You know, I just want to finish this and leave. I don't want anybody to see me with her because she wears saris all the time. She has sindoor till here and I'm embarrassed. My goodness, I want to slap that child now and maybe like tell her that this is not fair, you know. She's your mother, she's trying really hard. So of course, you know, when you grow up as an adult, you realize all these things and you're like, my goodness, what was I doing? But yeah, I mean, that's just how life is, I suppose, you know. So I did try to run away from it. I did try to be this different person. I wouldn't say that I lied about things anywhere, but I maybe, you know, hid a certain part of my reality in school and to other people. For sure. And now I'm more than like proud to show where I come from. It's you know, how the tables turn.
No, you rightly said. And a lot of young kids go through this pressure. The reason I asked you the question is, so many people are watching you right now. What do you want to tell people who do not understand how to deal with peer pressure? It's such an important thing that kids deal with on a regular basis.
I think, I mean, first of all, on this topic, I feel like definitely be proud of where you come from. It is so, and I feel like it makes you even better, even more inspirational when you tell people where you actually come from. You know, when I put up that video about my house, and I made it very randomly, Avinash, you know, I was like, I wanted to shoot a video that day, you know, it's the content banana hai ye wo, and I was like, what do I shoot, you know, the weather was very bad and I didn't have an idea, and my friend was there with me, and I was like, you know what, let's show my house, my real house, how it is. And I shot that video. Me and my mother are laughing around, showing things. And people took it so well, they got so emotional about it that, you know, we have lived in these houses and we have felt so ashamed ever talking about it or showing it. And you've shown it to the world. And I was like, okay, you know, I understand this because I have grown up feeling that way. I have grown up feeling embarrassed. And to peer pressure, I feel like, I mean, you grow up with, you know, different variety of people and everybody seems to be doing their own thing. And I also feel like, you know, when you look at from your perspective, you also feel like everybody is doing good. Everybody's sorted. You're the only one struggling. You know, and that's not the case.
That's not the
Everybody is struggling. Everybody has their own issues. Everybody's crying about certain things. I feel like we have to let go of that, you know, comparison that we keep doing with each other. And I still do it. I'm so competitive in life now. I still like, I'm trying so hard not to compare. And it's still a process, and obviously it doesn't change in one day. But I definitely have to tell people, and I've definitely, you know, worked on it, and I'm taking therapy, that, you know, please do not let anybody's success, anybody's failures, anybody's lifestyles bother you. You know, you do your own thing, decide on what you want to do, explore, don't be afraid of failures. I've been so afraid of failures, Avinash, growing up, because, you know, I also grew up to be a nerd. I was always first in class. I was doing multiple things. I had never seen failure. So when I did see failure as an adult, it hit me like a rock, you know. I didn't know how to process it. Oh, I failed. Okay, I don't know how to take this, you know. So I definitely feel like also failure is so important. So important to shape you. Yes. So definitely for peer pressure, please do not take it. Just focus on yourself. You know how those horses have those things around them? Kya bolte hain? I don't remember.
Blankers.
But like, it's just to focus on one thing. Just focus on yourself, build yourself, take your time. There's no rush. It's fine. Take your time.
Did it impact your mental health?
Oh yes. I'm still like working on it. But my competitiveness, comparing to other people, all of that is, you know, is also good. My therapist was like, I said, how do I stop? My therapist said, you can't stop. And you have to be honest, your competitiveness is the thing that has brought you so far. So it's not just bad. Now you're focusing on the bad
Yeah.
because it's affecting your mental health, but it has brought you, the only thing you have to now work on is how to bring the good out of it and leave the bad behind.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on, you know. My competition is only me is what I'm working on. Yeah, wo jo ek, you know, have you seen that image where there's a plant which has just this much roots and there's a tiny plant and has these many roots. So basically you can't compare yourself to anybody else's journey.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't know where they are coming from, what they have survived and what you are surviving. There's no comparison like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So to feel peer pressure is, I feel like, is stupid. And I say this feeling peer pressure every day. So, you know, I think I'm also giving this gyan to myself.
No, I think we all are, you know, we are all learning
yeah.
by each day, and I think that's the beauty of being humans also, you know,
Yeah.
that we learn every single day. But I really want to tell you before we move on to the next question, Dolly, that you should know this, that a lot of people really look up to you, really influence people, and that is something that you should really be proud of.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
I read once, you said it in an interview, I'm not a funny person in real life, I'm introverted. Really?
This has come from an interview where I think I was in a very, very bad space. You know, this is right before the pandemic. I had met a few people, and I am introverted for sure. And people would meet me and tell me all, you know, sorts of things, you know. And I feel like as Indians, we don't have a filter.
Yeah.
You know, they meet you, "Arey, aap to bahut hi patle ho yaar. Arey, aap kuch upset ho kya?" Because also, when you make comedy videos or if you're a comedian, they expect you to crack jokes all the time.
Yeah.
Which is not the case, at least not for me. Right? And especially not for me because I write my jokes, I write scripts, I like writing.
Yeah.
I'm a performer. But at that point, I think it really hit me, and I got so scared of meeting people because I was scared that they'll say something that will hurt me, you know. And then the pandemic happened, and I was really struggling with my mental health, and I was really going back into my shell. And that's when I started therapy, and this was the first thing we, you know, kind of discussed, that I don't know, I've never been a funny person. I'm doing comedy. I feel very torn as to who I really am.
Yeah.
And my therapist is, you know, she's the best person. She told me that I don't think that's the way. Why don't you tell me, you know, things from your childhood? And she actually made me go back into my childhood a lot more, you know, very deeply to kind of process it. And I realized I've always been a funny girl. It's just I've never been that like, oh, I crack a joke and laugh.
Yeah.
No punchline.
Yeah.
I've been a funny person in different ways. You know,
Correct.
I was you know, I call myself the Shant Shaitan because I was a, you know, well-to-do in school kind of bacha. You know, you don't expect me to be naughty.
Yeah.
But I was naughty. So I've been a funny person. It's just that, you know, it's different ways. It's not the conventional way. And I think when people say these things to you, know, you start like questioning everything.
Yeah.
You know. And so I felt like, oh yeah, I've never been a funny person and I'm doing this. Yeah, I've never been a funny. And when you keep saying these bad things to yourself or like, you know, keep pushing yourself down, it really brings you down actually. You know?
I agree.
And I remember my manager only, Ruchi, one day was like, why do you keep saying that you're not funny? Why do you keep saying that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, actually, I think I should stop. It's that bad voice, you know, that internal thoughts that you have, that intrusive thoughts that just like, really want to like, we call it my...
Bog you down.
Yeah, exactly. And I had major imposter syndrome for a few years. I'm working on it, but now I'm on much better space. But yeah, if that imposter syndrome voice was definitely telling me all sorts of bad things. You're not worth it. You're not this. You're not funny. What are you doing?
But in 2023, Dolly, why is skinny shaming still a concern that we have to deal with? It's sad, right?
It is really sad. It is really
Kab
sad.
tak karenge hum is
I mean, all sorts of shaming. I feel like nobody in this room right now has been, you know, has not been through something like that. Kuch na kuch, something people will say. I feel like, I don't know why, but as this, you know, society, we're always, हमको लगता है कि, oh, let's comment on each other's bodies. For some reason, this will make for a great conversation. I don't get it.
Or funny. It's not.
Or funny. The other day, abhi recently, and I'm really working on it. You know, I always, you know, I listen and then I go back and 4 days later, I'll be like, I should have said this, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying to work on the thing that, you know, I want to reply right away. I want to stop people.
Yeah.
So the other day, literally a week ago, I was in Jaipur shooting. And we were shooting in a restaurant. And there was this man who was the owner of the restaurant. And they have this paratha, okay, this large paratha that I was supposed to eat on camera.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Arey हाँ इनको खिलाओ, देखो इनकी हालत देखो, इनको खिलाओ यार, खिलाओ अच्छा है इनके लिए." And I didn't know what to really say. I couldn't think of a funny comeback. But I said, uncle, aise nahi bolte. And he shut up. So, you know, you have to kind of also call people out on these things. You have to take those chances. Of course, now I'm a grown up and I can say these things. But yeah, this is not cool. And I feel like, you know, the way conversations happen about not just skinny people, everybody, like body, weight, kaise dikh rahe hain, your face, your hair, everything. I don't understand. I go by the thing that if this person cannot fix that thing in the next 5-10 seconds, do not talk about it. Do not talk about it. Why are you saying? If I'm asking you that, you know, Avinash, am I looking good? Do you think I've lost weight? Do you think? Then maybe you can talk about it. Also, when you're close to that person.
Absolutely.
You know? You can't like, oh, Dolly, yaar, aur wazan kam ho gaya hai kya tera? You can't say these things. Aur badh gaya hai kya? You know, you can't.
Bilkul.
It really hurts people sometimes. So, yeah, I think it's definitely not cool. But I also am very hopeful because I feel like our generation is doing so much better. And we're very, you know, we really think of these things. And I think, you know, when I meet my friends and my friends meet me, we all, you know, shower each other with compliments and we're like, you're looking so stunning, and we hype each other. I love it, and I have so much hope for the future. You know, as parents, as, you know, relatives, the new aunties that we will be, I'm pretty sure we'll be better. And, you know, we'll pave the way. So I have a lot of hope.
Even I'm an optimistic. I think I agree with you. After 25 years, I think these conversations may not exist. You know, I was talking to Nandita Das recently and I told her, I hope at some point, even as a journalist, I don't have to do these conversations around Women Day. You know, when we don't have to mention it. We are equals and we don't have to prove it.
It becomes a regular thing.
It becomes a regular conversation. Absolutely. But does internal misogyny, you made a video on it also, troubles you? Is it still happen? Does your peers bring you down?
Yeah, a lot of times. And, you know, initially I used to feel like, you know, why is it like happening? Why are you thinking like this? But now I understand where they are coming from, that they don't know any better. They don't know what else to do. I have been a misogynist for so much of my life. In fact, even sometimes now, even I have to hold myself back. Oh no, this is not a good thought. This is a misogynistic thought you're having. This is not good. Don't think like this for another woman. Patriarchy is so, it's everywhere. It's literally in the air. So it's so hard to detach yourself and realize that what you're saying is wrong, what you're feeling is wrong. You can't feel that way for another woman. And, you know, so that's why I was so shocked when my mother pushed me to, you know, go for college, because I had never seen her like that. She was always a misogynist. She would always pull me, you know, back and be like, nahi, shaadi hi karni hai ek time ke baad, 22 ke baad, you know, let's start looking for a boy and all that. So for her to push me, I think, you know, that was beautiful. And I feel like, again, like I said, the generations are changing and, you know, people know better now. But misogyny is everywhere. And again, like I said, I have to sometimes keep checking my own self, whether I'm having a bad thought. Like, do I have a misogynistic thought right now? You know, it's very easy. It's very easy to look at a girl and be like, why is she wearing that?
It's important to question these things. You know, we have to be aware about what we are talking and how we are talking.
A lot of times I say things and then I come back and I'm like, no, that was not good. That was not good. I shouldn't have thought of that. I shouldn't have said that. But that's also okay. Even if you're, you know, thinking about it later and calling yourself out is okay. That's also still progress. But that progress is important. It has to happen. You can't keep going like, kya farak padta hai? Bol diya maine. You know?
I agree. Because you influence so many people, what is the most amazing thing about being Dolly Singh?
The most amazing thing about being Dolly, that is, how do I answer that? The most amazing thing about being Dolly Singh is, I think, you know, how people love me. It's I in my wildest dreams, you know, sometimes I think about the way I've grown up, where I've grown up, the kind of people I've grown up with. I would have never thought of Avinash that I would ever end up in a life like this. Ever, ever, ever. I always thought, of course, I wanted to be an actor, this, that, but I never wanted to act on it. I never wanted to, you know, go that route or do something about it. I always felt after 24, 25, I'll get married, I'll be in my husband's, you know, hands. I saw one of Taapsi's interviews, I remember, and she said this one thing, that as women, when we imagine our life as a child, when we are growing up and we dream about things, we stop after a certain age. And she was so right, because I remember I would think of all things I want to do, you know, till 24, 25 and be like, oh, I want to wear this and I want to get this and I want to buy that and I want to, you know. But after 24, 25, I stopped. I would never dream for beyond that. What do I want to do after that? Because I thought that, oh, I'll be married, then my husband will decide what I do. So now to receive all this love, have, you know, this, I mean, this interview, I would have never thought. So all of this love, all of these things that I'm getting, you know, the opportunities that I'm getting, I'm so grateful. And that's the best thing about like being who I am right now.
Amazing, more power. And there's no expiry date to dreams, right?
Yes, yes, please. Like now I realize, doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Dream till you're about like 90. What do you want to do when you're 90?
Amazing. I want to end this interview by one of your famous line from your interview. Because this conversation is very simple.
Avinash, I have to say before anything else, you've done such beautiful research.
Thank you.
You have paid so much effort and everything and your like heart into this. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Means a lot. But I have to say, this is your line. हम भी चाहते हैं कि लोग थोड़ा सा break लें और सोचे.
क्या सोचे? I don't know.
This is your line.
हम भी चाहते हैं कि लोग थोड़ा सा break लें और सोचे.
This was in your racism video.
I don't know.
This was the last line you said. हम भी चाहते हैं कि लोग थोड़ा सा break लें और सोचे कि आप भी क्या.
Oh, this is Shri. Yeah. Oh my God. काफी फ्लैग भी मिला था मुझे इसके बट हाँ जरूर सोचे कि क्या आप भी हैं नहीं लाइक वही बात करें ना, कॉल योरसेल्फ आउट. अगर आप कोई गलती कर रहे हो, कुछ गलत सोच रहे हो, तो प्लीज उसको तुरंत ठीक करें. बहुत बहुत जरूरी है ये लाइन. तो अच्छा है, बहुत सही याद दिलाया आपने. अब तो मैं इसका टैटू बनवाऊंगी. क्या आप भी हैं.
No, it's true. It's very, very, and this is the reason why we do these conversations, that at least as a journalist, I really want to make these things very common as a topic. I hope friends sit and talk about these things. I hope parents and kids sit and talk about internal misogyny, how it is not cool. कई बार बचपन से ही शुरू होता है कि यार तू बहुत पतली है, तू बहुत मोटी है, और लड़कों के साथ भी होता है, लड़कियों के साथ भी होता है. Friends say to each other. It's not always the older generation saying these things. Friends do it to each other all the time. Yeah. All the time. Yeah, absolutely. And वो यही होता है घर में देख के, बड़े होके. This is how it is. This is how it begins. I hope things change. Last words on Women's Day. Does it have any significance for you?
I mean, it does have a significance. I'm glad that we have a day that we can, you know, celebrate and be like girl power and everything. But also, like, you know, we said that, you know, tomorrow we would not want to have one particular day where we celebrate women. We should have every day where we, you know, celebrate each other. It's not just about women. Each other, everything that we are doing, the progress that we are making, it's so important. I mean, the fight is still going for women in a lot of areas. So I hope that, you know, we can ace those things and get better. There's so many conversations still, you know, going on about women and how, you know, so many mean comments that I get from men a lot of times. ऐसी लग रही है, ये जिड़ा लग रही है, क्या है ये, you know. So चलता है, but ठीक है, we're fighting, we'll go for it. And Women's Day, we'll celebrate, we'll party, we'll talk about these cool things, you know, conversations which are important. So of course that day is very relevant. For sure.
We are a clan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being you.
Thank you so much, Avinash. This has been phenomenal. I walked into this and I thought, oh, you know, we'll have another interview. I'll talk about but you've made it such a beautiful experience. I'm going to go back so happy and grinning wide and so nice.
Thank you.
You know, it shows when someone is passionate about their jobs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to Pinkvilla.